Hello guys, let's start the AMA today. It's actually the 28th AMA we've done so far, so definitely a really great track record. So to start up today, I kind of want to talk about the LVT and LNT wall revenue forecast that we posted this week. So we are officially post revenue. The since the first product we launched with the Liquid Node token last summer. We it has been more than half a year, like 8 months now, and we're starting to accrue revenue. So there's typically some sort of delays with the way the vesting tokens start to be claimable. So that's the case with the Aether Tecker node, and there's a 6 months in delays, and then right around February we start to actually accumulate revenue. At the same time, that also means that VATH holders can start to redeem the ATH token through the put option. And As of right now, out of the I think five different vaults we have, we have three vaults starting to accumulate, starting to make revenue. We're making about 28,000-ish so far, and this will only grow, continue to grow because as more tokens start to get vested. So with that, at that rate, by the end of the year, we should be making almost at 5 million in the annual revenue, which is quite significant for a young protocol with only five live vaults. And at the same time, we're of course, trying to scale the products, both with the current TVL and also trying to launch more vaults. Um, so kind of want to talk a little bit about how the revenues are being generated. And of course, this will be recorded on YouTube for you guys to kind of listen along, and also kind of also being explained in the article, but it's nice for us to kind of give you guys like an overview of how that works. So basically, the both LVT, the liquid vesting token, and the liquid node tokens, works such that we would mint the tokens that are unvested or locked. So we would go to the source and then mint X amount of VTs, vesting tokens. And the VTs, as those vesting tokens, actual tokens start to get vested, and then they got sent to our LNT vault or our VT vault. When that happens, then whoever at the time purchased the VT or holding the VT, they can actually claim the actual token. We just call them T. So you can claim VT to T incrementally whenever there's a realization of the vesting. So whenever that happens, we charge about a 5 to 20% fees. Right now, for most vaults actually at 20% for you guys to for holders to redeem. So let's say like you bought 100 VTs, and then every week there's five Ts to be claimable. You could actually claim those five Ts using five VTs, and when doing that, 20% of that here in this case would be one in T token would be charged by the protocol. That effectively becomes the revenue. So of course, not everyone's going to use that. Um, Most people will also not going to be able to use that because there's only going to be like a small amount of token being vested every time. So for most of the holders are actually going to use the secondary market, which is the AMM, to trade and to provide liquidity. There's other ways to play around this, and then hold off until the end of the vesting period, and then at that time you actually get one-to-one redemption. For people who are using the put option, these are typically people who are kind of using it as using the LVT vault, LNT vault as if they're running their own nodes, kind of like for example, in the case with the repo node, we are actually the only kind of avenue to run the nodes and also to kind of claim the rewards. So that's like that then every time I think for them is like 3 4 days. Every time there's a put option, it's literally for it's just like they were claiming the rewards from running a node. Um, so yeah, so from what we've seen, basically, I think 50% of the people, actually more than that, but on average, I think it'll gradually get averaged out. About 50% of the holders are going to use the put option, and they would actually be able to claim 100% of the vesting tokens that we get every time. So it's actually quite popular, and I think that makes sense, especially when the market is not doing great. People are kind of early holders of these tokens. They wanted to be able to get some redemption and then be able to sell them where liquidity is the best. Probably, these native tokens, you can sell it on exchanges. And so in that sense, like what affect our revenue outlook? One, it's of course is going to be TVL, like the more native assets being invested through us, the more sort of total addressable revenue we could get. And the second would be the amount of people using the put option. So in the assumption we just put 50%, I think right, of course it's more than that, but I think in long term, like 3 years, towards the end it'll be averaged out a little bit lower, so around 50% of the people is going to use that. But that alone is actually quite significant because the TVL is calculated using the tokens market value. If all of those 50% of all that becomes our revenue, it's actually pretty significant because as you know, we got up to like 93% TVL beginning of the year. Right now, it's actually recovering as the market's kind of doing a little bit better lately. So definitely a great sort of projection. Of course, we charge 20% on top of those assets being invested. Yeah, so that kind of gave us the number that if things go as planned for this year, at the current price, it's going to be around 4.9-ish million for this year. All of our vaults are, I think, most of them are longer than a year. And then, so of course, for us, it's a sort of imminent for the year, and then we need to keep opening up new vaults to sustain this. And I don't think that's going to be an issue because we're already working with some of the top 100 coin market cap tokens like Filecoin, IP tokens. Say these are pretty big layer ones. So for us on that front, we just need to keep opening up new vaults, finding new partners. Yeah, so if you look at the bigger picture, like what's next for the vesting token, in fact, like majority of the FTVs in the crypto markets are being vested. Like the current FTV, including Bitcoin. Of course, Bitcoin just mined that's a bit different. It's not being vested; it's being mined. Just mine the 20 millionth Bitcoin. So there's just 1 million left to be mined, and that's going to take like a 100 year or something. But most other tokens that are sort of more mundane are being vested sort of manually. Things like Monad token, IP token, they typically have like 3 4 years vesting period for investors, early holders. And actually, majority of the crypto market cap are like these. There's a ton of OTCs going on behind the scene for foundations to sell their future tokens. People, who wanted to speculate buy those tokens off at a discount, and then be able to do some strategies in the open market. And then at the same time, early holders can sort of exit, find liquidities that way. So that has always been the case. That's been the case with Aether as well. Like there's investors selling their SAFT. And then for us, it's kind of nice that the retail investors are able to sell their notes through us. So again, like if you look at the bigger picture, most of the projects out there are our target audience, and there's a clear benefit of using our VT to set up a secondary market to trade these tokens. And then talking about Aether and also our other walls like repo. It's actually been quite popular. We've seen a ton of trading lately. So just wanted to kind of mention that because we've been following these products markets, and on the LNT side, there's just ton of volume. Um, yeah, the only sort of a downside is that the token price is not holding up as very good, and then but of course that's sort of out of our hand. Yeah, so that's that for revenue. We just wanted to have more transparency, and then of how we're kind of running the protocol, and then give you guys more heads up. With that in mind, we're actually considering about launching our own governance token, the ZF token. This is after pretty significant TVL growth from our initial launch to now, like basically from a couple 100,000 to tens of millions within the span of a few months. Of course, now with the outlook being better, with the revenue finally starting to accumulate. So with our token, the main thing is actually to try to offload some of the future um, governance to the community in order to gain sustainability. I think the main thing is to get more people involved if you were to actually launch the token. So the governance is definitely the key component of it. The way we wanted to actually do better was pure just like V token model where everybody votes on snapshots and stuff and different decisions. We wanted to set up something different. Coming from like a node sort of product history, we wanted to build something new. Actually, it's actually called the V governance node module that we are building. So basically, what that means is that there's going to be a set number, let's say 30 V governance node. This node has their own delegations, and the node has a manager. So this it could be a KOL, or it could be an investor, or just someone that's sort of prominent in the community. They can set up a in the beginning, probably through our permission, to be the manager of these nodes. And what people do is that the token holders, they can actually delegate their tokens as voting powers to these node managers, and therefore these node managers vote on their sort of their followings behalf on each key issues. The key issues are going to span across are like things like what new walls to launch, how much fees we charge, and then to more like granular stuff like how much the fees should be, how much like earnings should go back to the token holders, how are fees being allocated, things like that. So definitely like we don't want it to vote on mundane things, but really something that have economic results and traction that we could sort of quantify. So those are the things that these V governance node holders vote for, and then that way we can actually track the results, the actual economic benefits of their votes in the protocol. And then after that, the whoever's making the right votes, of course they get shared they return the highest value to their delegations, and then as a token holder, you don't have to vote on every single issue, but you can actually see the track record of each governance node, and then decide where do you put your money at. And of course, that economically, it's a feedback loop where if you do the right decision and the node holder will the best, then you also get the most return. So that's how we are kind of envisioning staking. It's not going to be just some like non-productive locking up your token and that's it type of system, but we actually wanted to be able to like make the voting more efficient, make governance more efficient with higher participations, because we know that in the traditional model not everyone's gonna be there and vote on everything. So that's why we set up these V governance node module. In a way, it's kind of like the electoral college in the US, where you get 50 states, and then each state have certain number of electoral vote by the number of essentially by how much people that lives in that state. Like for example, California and Texas get the most votes typically. That's because those are like some of the biggest states in the U.S. In our case, it's the same, only that the number of people are the token holders that are delegating to these nodes, and then of course that number is also going to change much more than with the case with the US, where it doesn't really change. And that activity gets changed as these economic incentives shifts based on the node's performance. So there's still some questions that we're kind of thinking about, like for example, how do we set up the initial nodes? Who should be the initial node holders? And then can those node ownership be transferred? Things like that. So still kind of a working process, but I think this is a very meaningful attempt to make on-chain governance more efficient. Yeah, so that's pretty much the core stuff that I wanted to talk about. This past week, I don't think there's that many questions from our community. There's are some sort of suggestions on how we should make the website more straightforward, things like that, and those are highly appreciated. And we are actually taking a look into some of the proposals you guys sent. And also wanted to call you guys call attention to the amount of spams and like scam accounts and links that are kind of targeting our community. It's on the rise. I think that partially is because we are announcing that we're thinking about the token generation event, also because of the fundraising announcement. So we're getting a little bit more attention. So definitely beware of the impersonators. There's some accounts saying that we're running point system, and I wanted to clarify that we are not running any point system for our TGE. So anything that asks you to do certain things, click any links, complete any tasks, those are all fake. Only read what's coming from our official Twitter channel, X channel, and always take Discord with a grain of salt, because those are very easily hackable. Always open up tickets, only open up tickets, don't click links on the Discord. Yeah, so going forward, I think we're also trying to implement more cautious sort of measures, like by the end of each Twitter X announcements, we'll have this is the end of the post sort of signal, so that no anything after that, it's actually like not bulletproof. Yeah, so definitely things along those lines. Those are on the rise. But if you've been in crypto long enough, you're probably not unfamiliar with those. Yeah, so that's pretty much everything from me. Pretty trying to keep it short and concise, under 20 minutes. And of course, I'm gonna post this tomorrow on our YouTube as well. And hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Yeah, goodbye.